speed is right back behind the country. Delivered Rice. Rice done it.
Hibs was there as well. O'Neill and Lamb up the way. Rangers look for a goal. What's the foul? Oh, it's brilliant! Scoots it back, John Lundstrom. 3-0 Rangers. Willis cross, a good one. That hits Libra.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of We Are the Podcast. A couple of days removed from a League win over Hibernian at Easter Road, and a few days before a League Cup semi-final against Celtic at Hampden. Danny Rill's first Old Firm game in charge. How are you boys feeling post Hibernian pre-Celtic?
I'll just fess up just because I said it would be a draw before the game, and I'm happy to be wrong. 3 points on the road. I did think because Hibs hadn't been beat at home for over a year, I think it was, I had thought I had a draw written all over it. When they got the penalty late on, I thought, here we go. But no, I'm quite happy to be wrong. So I didn't get a chance to put my prediction in, but I'm quite happy to be wrong on that one. But by all stretch, it was a good game considering probably under a previous regime, we maybe wouldn't have won that game, to be honest with you. I think you could tell right away the difference in the press. I said to you guys in the chat as well, I was like, look at how far up we are pressing, what kind of intent we're showing to win the ball back and make them make passes, if that makes sense. Try and put them under a bit of pressure. That's the hard running. That's the hunting that was talked about for a long time all season. It never actually happened. That's what it actually is supposed to look like. So, but it was a good game.
Stevie, how are you feeling, mate?
Aye, feeling pretty good, mate. Off the back of 2 wins. Looking forward to a cup semi-final that a few weeks ago we'd have been absolutely dreading. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And should be good to have a wee chat about it tonight.
Smashing. So as we said, we'll touch on the Hibs game. Obviously, it was a 1-0 affair. The goal was scored pretty early on. There was a couple of kind of flashpoints throughout the game. Nothing major coming out the back of it. Going into Sunday, other than Conor Barron is suspended for the game on Sunday for picking up yellows in previous cup games. And then we'll kind of have a chat about what we expect to happen on Sunday. Obviously, the goal comes pretty early on, about 4 or 5 minutes in. Danilo again, he's a man reborn under Danny's rule, and Chermiti with the assist, which he's getting a lot of flack still online, but I'm happy with a goal and an assist in 2 games since Danny Rule's come in. What do you guys think of Chermiti on the whole going forward now?
I think he looked good on Sunday when he came on. Probably deserved a start after getting his goal. And then, obviously, as you say, he gets the assist for Danilo. I think still needs to work on his hold-up play. I think I've seen a couple of clips that you never seen on the live TV broadcast of him over it. Danny Rule as the game was going on, just kind of taking pointers off him,
Aye, I saw
which is
that.
which is absolutely fine. He did have one chance where he was driving at their defence in the second half, and he done a wee kind of step over, and I might hit it, and he tried
Yeah,
to get
aye.
an extra touch, and the
Aye.
chance was gone. But that's the kind of thing that once he gets a bit more confident, that'll become second nature to him. So he has massive improvement, especially. I'm sure the three of us will agree. We've slated him to no end in group chats and even on here. So it's good to be. I want to be able to eat my words. So hopefully he continues to get better.
I think putting the price tag to aside, right, because we can't keep banging on about it. It's not his fault that somebody paid 8 million for him. I think to play games for us in this league, for a team the size of yours, with the expectations that we've got, he needs to be delivering more than he has been. Price tag aside, it could have been half that, and you would still expect there would be more than what you're getting from him now. He has scoring the goal. I remember hearing Danny Rowe making comments about his celebration and saying, "Look, I reminded them that not to worry about like the way to celebrate is because he'd made obviously the hand gestures, um, which was obviously insinuating people talking about him and stuff like that. But I think Will had said, look, I basically reminded him to wind his neck in a wee bit kind of thing. But he's a young guy, so at the end of the day, he's getting a lot of flack, and if he scores a goal, then good for him. If he gives him a bit more confidence, getting the assist, he still there's aspects of his game that probably weren't where they need to be. But we basically we've got two choices here. We either keep playing him in the hope that he develops into the role and doing the stuff that we are expecting him or needing them to do, or we don't give him the game time and it takes him longer to adjust. Really,
Aye. Um, I'm all for him. As Stevie says, making us eat our words, man. Like, there's nothing more I want than an £8 million striker to actually score goals and set up his partners up front. That's exactly what we want him to do. So hopefully, under Danny Rule and his team's tutelage, he becomes the striker that Thelwell thinks he's bought twice, kind of thing. One of the other things I wanted to point out, and I think I said to you boys in the group chat, was Jaden Magoma. I think he was born to play that left wing back role, man. He just seems to have taken to that like a duck to water, man. He's just bombing up and down, taking the ball off folk, driving past his opposite number and putting balls into the box. I think he's been brilliant in that position. Just wanted to get your opinion on that as well.
I think he's done really well since he's moved to wing back. He's a decent threat going forward, and it kind of, as much as he's still got to do some defending, it kind of takes away the defensive burden as much. So I think he's suited to it, and he's a couple of better performances. He's definitely improving. Not that he wasn't the worst. He wasn't the worst of that defence. Let's be honest, but he's definitely getting better.
I reckon like if you look at what his pedigree is, right, he's come through an English youth system, and they very much heavily train the boys quite clearly to be modern wing backs, and the modern wing backs don't really do a lot of defending. They are primarily used to overlap and get balls into the box and stuff like that. I said to you boys as well, and I think Stevie agreed at least anyway that that's where Max Aarons was always played, and that's where he excelled. Probably was to be less defensive work. They're no great defensively. Like we probably the way if you're going to play a four, right, you're going to need your right back, your left back to do more defending than you would do with a three. So we went with the three central defenders, which is then the cover that they would need for to push forward and no leave you exposed at the back. So if you're going to do that, then fine. But you can't be doing the same way we were doing previously, where you were asking the two boys to overlap. Like, for instance, Tavernier as well. He's not got the legs to get back and defend. So you're then leaving yourself exposed, hence the brand game. That's a prime example of that. He's bombed up and he's not gotten back in time. So if you're giving yourself three defenders, just to take that brand game as an example, right? You've got three centre backs. John Suter can push out a wee bit to cover that space because he's not having to worry about the man that he's supposed to be marking. Therefore, you don't have that massive gap between the two of them. So if you're going to play your two wing backs high, you need to have solid in the defence. I'd said in the last pod that I wondered if because Rule had said he went with the 4-10s and the 1-6 basically, and he changed it completely. It looked like he went 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Or 3-5-1-2 or
3-4-3. The papers were calling it, and all that.
It just depends. I mean, I suppose it's that whole thing with football now, where it's developed into you get in possession and out of possession tactics and all that kind of stuff. Right? That's a thing. That's the way football is now. That's the way these modern coaches are looking at like where players want to be when you've got the ball, and where they want to be when they've not got the ball. So your wing backs when you've got the ball bombing forward. And then when you've not got the ball, probably sitting back a wee bit, but they're ready to do the counter-attacking part of it as well. So there probably is an element of it where it's like, right, when you've not got the ball, you've got the three, then you've got the two wing backs sitting slightly back, then you've got the midfielders sitting a wee bit deeper, and then everybody's pushing forward after that when you've got the ball to try and create the overlaps and the overloads and stuff. So it was probably like a 3-5-2, 3-4-3, or whatever way you want to look at it, but so it was completely different again.
At one point, there was a stage in the second half where, because you're thinking when you go 3-5-2 that your three centre backs are just going to sit. they're solid defensively, and the only time they're going to look at going forward is when you've got a set piece for their height in the box.
Yeah.
But at one point in that second half, and my heart was in my mouth, where Jigger had the ball and he played it to Raskin. Now Raskin was standing just inside the centre circle in our half, and rather than Jigger just sitting, he started bombing on looking for a return pass, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" You know, like this is if we lose a ball here, we're in big trouble. But it seems to have given us a bit more stability. We look a lot more sound at the back than what we have done previously. And that, let's be honest, that really wouldn't be hard because
He was
But
just channeling his inner
is wide
Bugera, mate.
open.
That's what it was.
Yeah, of course. But
let's
I think you're, and I know we're going to talk about it in a bit more detail about Connor Barron, but I can't praise him enough. He was outstanding. He covered every blade of grass on the pitch. Really unlucky with a penalty, but he gives that protection to your three centre backs, but he can also carry the ball and go forward as well. And he can be, I know he's still no scored for us, and that really frustrates me because he has got goals in him, but he can pick a pass and he's good at kind of bombing forward. And as much as he's not the tallest, he's very, very strong as well, which I really like.
We said
aye,
that though, didn't we? We were talking a
aye.
couple of weeks ago about how we
Well,
needed a
I've always been
midfield
praising
destroyer
Barron.
to win the
Aye,
ball. And that's
But
exactly what he
he's
done
not
against
that.
Hibs.
He done it against
aye,
Hibs, but I don't think he's the long term solution for that kind of
nah.
destroyer type. As
But
we
it just
said,
showed you
we
like
need that.
the difference it makes just having a defender in there that's doing that closing down, chasing the ball down, closing down all
Mhm.
the
He might not be
Absolutely.
winning. He might not be winning the ball back, but he's putting them under pressure to make a pass that will eventually lose them the ball. Like he's no getting in there. He's in people's faces, but he might not be winning the ball back. But that's what you need. You need someone out there putting pressure on the players who could potentially slip up with a pass. Um, before we start praising Connor as highly as he deserves, you brought up Giga there, Stevie, and I just wanted to kind of um, chat about him a wee bit. He had a bit of a before we scored our goal. There was a Hibs attack that he sliced the ball out when he attempted to clear it and sliced it out for a corner. And I thought we're on for a classic Giga performance here, where he's just going to be an absolute bomb scare. But he actually picked his socks up and he had a decent game. I thought, like one of his better games. And I think that maybe he suits a three at the back formation more than being part of a four.
Aye, he got through that first 10, 15 minutes because I remember putting in our group chat, it's 3 minutes in and Jigga's already gave me the fear.
Aye,
And that was the one he put out for the corner, and also the one where the Hibs chance that Butland saved in the first couple of minutes because it was on his side and he looked massively out of position. But when you watch
aye,
it back, you're kind of thinking that's not really on him because the wing backs bombed forward as well. Um, but then he had that tackle on, was it Bowie he tackled? I can't remember, but he had that tackle. It ended up being offside, but at the time he didn't know that. The boy was through in goal and he literally couldn't have timed it any better because if he had been onside and he missed times it, that's a red card all day long. I thought he was sound. I thought, to be fair, I don't think the back three never looked troubled at any point, and it's just weird how somebody like
saying something for
Tavernier,
having
who
Suter right in the middle of a back
it's,
three as well, man. Like,
it is, but I think that is. I can't remember if I said it on a pod or I'd said it to you previously. Shooter always does better in a back three. He did when he was at Hearts. He has done for Scotland. He just looks more assured when he's got two other centre halves either side of him, rather than him being one of a two. So, especially when the way that we were playing under Martin and the way that we previously played as well, where you would play a back four, but your left back and right back would bomb on and it would just leave him so exposed on one side, depending on
aye,
what side he was on. So, and I think predominantly he would play left centre back, which, is kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's not a left sided centre back. He's a right sided centre back, is he not?
I think that
Playing
was all. I
on
think
the
that
on
was
the wrong
always
side of two.
it was always a complaint with him and Goldson, wasn't it? Like we need a left-footed centre back.
Yeah,
Suter's
yeah.
not the answer, kind of thing.
But the other thing I wanted to touch on is, and we spoke about it before we came on, was our pressing. It wasn't just like there's the striker will start pressing. They were hunting in packs. There was two or three of them. The minute we lost the ball, they were going and trying to get it back instead of just going, well, they've got the ball, we'll let them lump it forward and see what happens. that's a massive change for what we've been used to. Even
Yep.
under previous managers, before you get to the shambles that was Russell Martin, before that, every previous man, you never had anybody where they were just hunting in packs, going after the ball, and now we have got that, and that's so refreshing to see.
Aye, I thought that as well. The game previous to the Hibs game, I felt like we were closing down in twos and threes at some point as well. Obviously, we kind of we've already waxed lyrical about Connor Barron, but um, I get the feeling that you kind of want to go off on a wee bit about him, Cheech. You're a big advocate of that type of
I just
player.
thought he had a really good game. Like I said to you boys in the chat as well, I was like, Gassama, Rock, Howland, and Barron's been excellent.
What has happened to him? He has fell off a cliff, man. Like,
He did the same thing that Stevie was saying about Trinity as well. He'd run into the box, he's chopped back in. That's when he should be shooting. Instead, he's
aye,
taking another touch. So his choice there is square
play
the
it
ball,
off.
because I think it was
Aye.
Miovski was running through the middle, coming in. It wasn't clear, right? But it would have been it was on to try and get the ball out to give him a shot and goal, or you shoot,
Mhm.
and he did neither and took an extra touch, ended up running the ball out, and then it was a total waste. So he's totally second guessed himself. So I don't know if he's just maybe
Think
in
it's because he was
his
on the
own
right.
head a wee bit. Don't know, because I think Danny Rowe played him a bit on the right when he was Sheffield Wednesday as well. From what I gather, anyway.
Aye.
I won't pretend to have watched Sheffield Wednesday games or anything, but from what I've seen online, was people were saying that he did play him a wee bit on the right hand side. So I don't know if it is
I,
to
th-
do with that.
I think part of the problem as well was under Martin, he was kind of the focal point of our attack
I
in
just give him
terms
the ball.
of giving the ball, let him run at people. Whereas now, Danny Rule's kind of like, we need to be a bit more unpredictable.
Yep.
Instead of just going get him, it's right. Let's vary the attacking methods and give it to somebody different and see what kind of happens. It also kind of takes the burden off of him. I completely agree with what you're saying. He's not been as effective as he had been previously, but I think as well, in a team that were poor, he was the kind of standout, and he'd scored goals and he was just running at defenders.
Mhm.
So I think anything was, you can't, you know what wingers are like. You cannot expect wingers to keep up that consistency. They're the most inconsistent players on a football team. Every time without fail,
What
and
he
it was
did
always
seem to
going to
do
be the
well
case.
though was cutting into his right hand side. Seems to suit him better, though. I agree with you on that, mate. Is that I think that he's been at his best for us when he scored the goals is when he's cut in on his right hand side and he shot with his right foot. Whereas
Aye.
you can't do that with your left. I don't know if that's maybe what's been a factor in the fact that he's done well to get into the box, he's chopped, but he doesn't have the confidence to shoot on his left foot. So he's then second guessed it, and rather than squaring the ball out, and he's just not done anything with it.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah,
Aye.
it's like
Hope.
he's kind of went, well, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here because I've not got a left foot.
Because usually
You
I'll be
know,
Aye.
shooting with the opposite side.
yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't get into his own head with it all, and it doesn't affect his game, because I fully expect he'll start on Sunday. But aye, we kind of went off on a tangent there about Gassama. Connor Barron.
But
I think he's going to
I,
be a big miss for Sunday, man.
I think he had a good game. He done a lot of running, a lot of. He keeps talking about hard running and stuff like that, and that's what he did. He was closing everything down. He was trying to win the ball. He was getting in people's faces, and that's exactly what we were missing for that midfield. There was no dig in the midfield.
Yep. Is he a
So I think
starter for you, like going
um,
forward?
if he's able to continue that work ethic and in that role, then yeah. But I think to be fair, and he's a young boy, he's been a wee bit hit or miss since we've had him.
Mhm.
He's had a wee spell of been good, and then he's had a spell of been no great, to be honest with you. So it depends if he's. We do need somebody in that midfield that's doing that role, though. So if he's the
Yeah.
best suited to that role in the meantime, until we
So
can bring in somebody who has specialises in that role, then I think we'd have to.
Aye.
I've seen an interesting tweet for that John Walker guy who's been
Oh, that's the
taking
one about
absolute
N'Golo
pelters.
Kante.
Aye, that his numbers
Aye.
were for the other night were matching what N'Golo Kante was doing for the year Leicester
Oh,
won the
don't
league.
don't compare it
Um,
me. Don't
and we
compare it me and
know we
Golo.
know how much you
Don't,
love
please don't.
N'Golo Kante,
Please don't.
why?
Please don't.
But on a serious note, I have no problems with Connor Barron. He's not, even when he came in under Come On, he was starting games when he first came in. And I remember being at, it was the Hibs game at Ibrox, it was Tom Lawrence goal, when we won 1-0, and funnily enough, Butland saved a penalty again that day. And Barron got substituted, and the whole Ibrox was booing because he was our head and shoulders our best player on the park that day.
Aye. I remember that.
And he's he doesn't put a foot wrong for me. You know, like I can't remember if I'd said it in the group chat the other night. It reminds me of a kind of midfield version of Nacho Novo in the sense that he might not be the most gifted, but he always gives you
100%.
110%.
Aye,
Bags of
definitely.
energy. If he makes a mistake, he doesn't let it get to him. He's there and he's
He's
contributing.
one that tries to fix his mistakes as well. I've noticed, like
Aye,
if he like Kante used to do, like when he loses the ball, he goes right back after it. Like unless obviously it's without the realms of possibility, but he's as you say 110%. I think he'll be a big miss for Sunday. He's the type of player that I would like to have someone on top of Callum McGregor. But obviously, I think that'll probably be Raskin and Diamandi's role.
That's when we've been most effective against Celtic. It's when I know that McGregor's not the player he probably was a season or two ago, right? But that's when we've had the most success against them, is when somebody's played him right out of the
Nullifies
game.
him. Aye.
Bajrami did it really well in one of the games as well. Just when his role is just you sit on him, and every time he gets the ball, just harass him.
Aye.
And really put
I
pressure
think
on him.
the only issue with Bayrami with that was, and I know he's not had the best of Rangers careers, and yeah, look, it's good to nullify McGregor as you say because he prances about the park like he's prime Zidane or whatever. Do you know what I mean against us? And you're just like, come on, you know. But the only thing with Bayrami there is it kind of takes away from any attacking threat that he's got. So I would rather see either Raskin or Dio just follow McGregor about. Don't let him dictate the game because if he starts to dictate the game, that's where your trouble comes from. You know. So
Yeah.
again, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves because we're still kind of talking about Hibs, but
Well,
yeah,
nothing much. Obviously, there was the penalty incident, which spared obviously Super Jack spared the blushes of both Tavernier and Conor Bannon. I don't think Tavernier is blameless in what happened there. He lost the guy to cut inside the box, and Barron had no choice but to put a foot in.
I think he's felt as if he had to try and at least
Aye.
win the ball, and then
I
it's been
just,
a tired leg as well, and it's one of
aye.
the ones.
I really, I think it's been pretty obvious since we started the pod, and obviously you boys know my feelings in James Tavernier, man. But I think when he came on that second half, the game just died for us, man. Like everything that was going through him was just lethargic and had no intent behind it. He had to take every free kick. He went for, there was a point at time, and my brother texted me about this. He went to take a throw in on the left hand side, and the ball went right out to the right hand side, and he just jogged to the right hand side to take that throw in, and then immediately the ball went back to Hibs, like because he sets himself up for these big long throws, and then he didn't do it that time. And it's just wee things like that that really niggle at me, and I really don't want to get on at him because it's his birthday today, and it's not very nice. But I just feel like now when Tavernier's on the park, it just kind of slows our game right down now.
I mean, he's 34 and the legs have gone, you know, and look when he leaves, he's been a lightning rod for the last 5 or 6 years for us, no doubt. But when he leaves, we'll kind of sit back and go, do you know what? He was a cracking player for us. But it's just
At
one of the
times,
things. It's just one of the things where you go, well, look, during 55, he was incredible. He was absolutely amazing for us. You think of the amount of goals he scored, and that included him being injured for a while as well. You know, we did. If we never had Nathan Patterson there to step in, we'd have been in trouble. But I think it's not on the same level, but it's kind of like the way you seen with Alan McGregor in that last year, where you're kind of like, you know, maybe you've done a wee bit too long here. You know, you maybe should have went a year before. But I don't see him. I mean, surely he doesn't get another contract at the end of the season. You'd like to think
No
that'll
chance.
be it. You know,
I think it's best for all involved, mate, for him just to bow out, take his testimonial, and
think he retires?
where's he going to be honest, right?
I mean,
At
he's not
34,
going to play at a high level in England,
aye,
is he?
he's not going to go
He's
anywhere.
not going to
Saudi
play
or
at a
something
high
like that,
level.
probably, wouldn't it? Middle East, maybe.
Yeah,
China or something like that, maybe.
Aye,
Are they still? Is
Maybe
China still a place for people to
um,
go for mega money? I don't know.
nah,
Not heard
not
about China
anymore.
for a while.
They brought in a massive wage cap thing and a
Oh, did they? I didn't
foreign
know that.
player cap and all that stuff. Aye.
There
you
speaks
can
the
only
voice
have.
of Football Manager.
Well, yeah, you can only have what is it like you can have like 7 non-Chinese players in your squad, but you can only have 3 of them on the pitch at the same
Yeah,
time
and the
or something
goalkeeper
like
must be
that.
Chinese as well. Only
And the
Chinese goalies as
goalkeeper,
well.
aye, it's because people. I'd read a bit about this when we were looking at Muscat, and everybody was kind of going, "Look at their defence; they're shipping goals right, left, and centre." And somebody said, "Oh, well, it's because of this." So all of the teams in China will use their
Attacking
best
players.
players are all attacking
Attacking.
players that are
Aye.
Yeah,
not
Brazilian
Chinese
forwards and
players.
all that. Yeah.
Brazilian forwards and all the rest of it. So it kind of skews the numbers that you would see because I remember, was it Leonardo that plays for Shanghai, and folk were going, "Oh, we need Muscat to sign him." And you're like,
His
"Nah,
release
he's
clause or something
playing
like that is
against."
like tens of millions or something, wasn't it? Or
Aye,
something?
and he's on like 70 grand a week as well. That's not happening for us. But yeah, I think it's kind of to
Saudi
that
or
stage where
retirement,
you where
probably.
you aye, where you can say to Tav, thanks for your service and let him go, and
I mean,
hopefully with a couple of trophies at the end of the season.
his
But
testimony will be a sellout, man. Like as I say, I've never been his biggest fan, but the guy at least deserves to ride off into the sunset, man. Like he's earned that. He was part of the team that won us our quite possibly our most important trophy ever. So for that, I'll always be grateful to him. But he's not my favourite
well,
player,
you
and never
you
has
you
been.
think like he's been here since the year we got promoted for the championship, so he's played in the championship. He's been through Murty, Pedro, and all the rest of them. But he's also he scored a goal that won his League Cup against Aberdeen. Scored his countless goals in 55, and he captained us in a European final. And as much as a lot of them were penalties, you have to remember a lot of the goals that we scored in that run were his goals.
Aye.
Like he scored a few 3 goals against Dortmund over the 2 legs. Scored a couple of pressure penalties as well on that run as well. So he'll go with my best wishes at the end of the season, absolutely.
Aye, happy birthday, Skip. So with that, obviously the last kind of major bit of action, I think Magoma got a silly yellow as well. Like somebody was, I never seen it. I think I was in the kitchen at the time or something like that. But he flashed a hand or something like that, and the guy went down like a ton of bricks, and there was no
Oh, it
contact
was
or something like
pathetic.
that.
Oh,
It was
Kieran Bowie,
pathetic.
man. Honest to
I've
God.
not
Pathetic.
He
seen it. I've not
basically
seen it.
It
he
was
puts
never a
his hand
foul,
up
never
to
mind
shield.
anything else, to be honest with you.
Aye, wasn't even a foul. He puts his hand up to kind of hold him off.
And he's probably touched his chest,
Touches
eh?
him,
Chest,
in the
shoulder, maybe a
chest.
wee bit. So,
Bowie gets
and he's
holding
he's
his
flung
face to
himself
his throat.
right in
And
front of the linesman as well.
Why do we not use VAR for this and kind of stuff, man? Like
you can't use it for bookings, mate. So if he'd
that's
already
what
been on
that's
a
what I mean.
booking
though.
and
Like
beaten
that's what I
gives him
mean.
a
Like
second booking, you've got nothing to come back on. You've just got to
it's
take the suspension.
especially with stuff like that because stuff like that is prevalent now. Like this play acting nonsense, man. Like
It's
just
potentially game changing stuff as well, though.
aye,
Do you think
double
about that,
check
right?
VAR.
Say the boy is on a booking and does that, and that's his second booking, and he gets sent off for that, which is never even a foul in the first place. The boy's went down holding his face, and his hands nowhere near his face. It's about a foot away.
Yep.
So there's absolutely no chance. Like,
That's I think I said to you boys as well during it that I felt that Hibs were taking advantage of the concussion rule, see the head knock rule. Like a lot of the
aye.
times they were going in for 50-50 headers and then just hitting the deck and holding their head to get the game stopped. And I feel that
And I don't understand it because they were the ones that were losing.
I
So
like I just feel like
it's their
It's to
something
time to
needs
break
win.
up
to
it's to break up the
aye.
attack for other teams. That's what it is basically. So if
Yeah.
they think that we are on for a counter attack, somebody goes down with a sore head, you have to kick the ball out, and then you have to
Aye.
wait and restart the game. That's what it is.
It's
We
just
done it a few times as well. It was more to do with just nullifying the game and seeing the game that we did it for. But they were
Mhm.
doing it to try and break. It's a bit of the old dark arts, as they call it, where you
aye.
just try and break up the game if you think you can stop a team for advancing for
Using
that position.
every possible rule that can be bent before it
I
gets
seen one of
broken.
the
and aye.
Hibs Twitter pages or something complaining about the amount of added time when they actually got an extra minute than the 5 minutes they got anyway, and plus they were doing half of the time wasting anyway. So I don't know what they're complaining about.
And then there was a wee scramash towards the end, wasn't there? That I think that came off the back of all that. Which was it? Was it Cornelius that was down? Cornelius went down, and then I think
yeah.
Raskin get involved, and when Raskin gets involved, things tend to flare up a wee bit because he's a wee bit of a hothead.
I think it was Butland's came out his goals and he's put his arms around Raskin, and you can see him whispering to him, just calm it
Which
down.
Tav should be doing that. Tav should be doing that, but
Yeah,
it's his birthday. It's his birthday. It's his birthday.
we'll stop the Tav bashing for
Aye,
now
it's his
anyway.
birthday. So obviously, then the last kind of major flashpoint is that Butland saves a penalty. He's a hero as always. I love the guy. I just love him to bits, man. And we come away with a 1-0, a hard fought 1-0, I think, because there was times where I thought they're going to equalise, man. It's on the cards, but under Danny, it's just not to be. And that's our first clean sheet in what, 26 away games or something.
Aye, we're showing we're showing stuff now. You're seeing something. We talked about this as well. You get the buy-in when you can see something. It's getting better.
Aye.
We're seeing out these games, the 1-0 games that we didn't see out previously, because there's two examples where we didn't see out a game and we lost a late goal, and then
Lost the manager right after it.
That was us. So we're seeing out these games. We're looking better at really breaking the game up. Really just looking at right. It's 1-0. It's a tight game. Let's just try and break up any advantages they get and try and see the game out if you will. It's a tough away game as well. You'll maybe not wanting to see that at Ibrox right enough, but you take it for a tough away game absolutely any day of the week if it's giving you 3 points.
Definitely. So with the Hibs game in the rearview mirror, we come to Sunday. Celtic at Hampden for the League Cup semi-final, place in the League Cup final up for grabs. A lot of turmoil between both teams in terms of managerial upheaval. We've obviously settled ours because it's been a couple of weeks now. Martin O'Neill obviously came back to Celtic after 23 years, I think it was, 23, 25. I can't remember how long it was exactly.
22 years.
22 years.
He left in 2005.
There you go, 2005, and it's been 20 odd years since he's come back to Celtic. He was in charge for their game against Falkirk on Wednesday when we were playing Hibs, and they won comfortably 4-0. By all accounts, the only kind of thing that I've heard was I was watching Pint and Two Shots earlier on this morning, and Rito said that Celtic were incredible, which kind of gives me the fear a wee bit.
He's not a Celtic fan, but
he is, but on that podcast tends to be a wee bit kind of down the line. I like a Pint and Two Shots. I'll give them as much praise as I can there. But
I think you have to take on board that they're fans for the football they were watching as much as they were.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. That's a very good point.
Plus,
they're
a lot of them would have been wanting rid of Rodgers as well at that point.
They're the same as us. The football they were watching, they weren't happy with. So the first sign of any improvement, it's going to be a massive improvement.
That's fair.
I don't take too much away from. I don't take anything away that's going to give me too much fear for Sunday, in the sense that you can't really tell too much, because no disrespect, but it was Falkirk they were playing at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Stevie, I was about to say the same thing, mate. Like, you need to think,
a Hearts,
right?
Or a
you need to
Hibs
think,
or a Motherwell.
Aye.
You go, right, fair enough, but it wasn't. You
need to think to yourself, with the team, we should have beat them as well. Hands up, we didn't beat them. We should have beat them, right? But purely, right, if you look at the amount of money that Celtic spend in their team, the amount of money that Falkirk have spent in their team, they should be winning games like that just purely based on having a far stronger team. We should have beaten them as well. I'm not saying that obviously they didn't. We never, right. We should have beaten them on the same premises that it's a newly promoted team. They've not spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money. By de facto, we should be winning games like that, and we never. So
we should be beating everybody else, but as well. But that was just the case, wasn't it? The case, that was just the way it was.
You know what? Right, fair enough. 4-0 was a good win, but you would expect at any other season, you would expect Celtic to beat a newly promoted team 3 or 4-0.
That's a routine victory for them or us at home. That 3-4-0 against a team that have just been promoted, you expect that. It's not like they've went out and they've put 7 or 8 past them, and then you go, right, hang on a minute, you know. But I think Sunday will be a better gauge to see where they're at, you know, in terms of what O'Neill and Maloney are.
They're missing a few big names, aren't they? Carter Vickers.
By the way, see
Jota's still out.
We've not gotten to the predictions part, right? But I was thinking of this tonight. like this is going for me. I think this is going to be like a 2 each or a 3-2 game again. Do you know why? Because their defence is in bits now, with players missing and
They've
stuff
got
like that. They're
young
missing a
boys
right
in there,
back.
aren't they?
Yeah, so
Well,
we should.
they had Trusty back, Trusty and Scales were their two centre backs against
But they're missing the
Falkirk.
right back as well.
They're
With
missing
Johnson,
Johnson. He's still
and
injured. They were
Tierney's
playing.
probably injured. I don't know, but he probably is because he
I don't
normally
think
is
Tierney was
anyway.
in the squad the other night. They played Ralston at right back. They played. Is it Sarachi? The boy's name is the new left
Aye,
back that was
that's they
signed.
said that
Played
on
him at
Pint Two
left back.
Pots. Aye,
I'm not. Look, if they go out and beat us, they beat us. But I'm certainly feeling a lot more confident than I was a couple of weeks ago. And I think I have to agree with Cheech there. This wouldn't surprise me if this was a 2-2 or a 3-3.
it's
And it
been a
goes
while since
the
we've had a
distance
high
again.
scoring one. It's been a
Well,
while
it was the
since we've
last
had a
League
high
Cup
League
scoring.
Cup
semi.
final, like the League
Aye,
Cup final last year.
League Cup final,
Was that was
sorry,
3
aye.
each. They won in penalties. Shouldn't have won in penalties. Shouldn't
Because
have
it should
got
have
to
been a
that.
penalty,
But um,
but it was merit than
but
in, you know.
so
aye, of course.
who gets the nod up front for you boys for Sunday? Because we've obviously
Well,
got a bit of a dilemma.
It's going
Danilo
to be
obviously
you
gets a
can't
start.
you cannot drop Danilo after scoring
Aye,
2 goals in 2 games. You can't do
who
it.
partners him?
no. I'd go
I,
with
I would
Chermiti.
be,
If he's
I
playing
would
a two,
be,
I'd go with Chermiti.
I would be more inclined to play Miovski because Miovski's got previous against Celtic.
I mean, it's a good job we're not the ones that have to make this decision.
No.
You know, I
Please,
think
I would
play
probably
Danilo
go
star.
Miovski, do you know
to
that?
be
Just
honest with you,
purely because it's a big game in it.
I don't care as long as we get to 4 o'clock on Sunday and the Danilo's dad's jumping about Hampden, loving it, shouting "Vamos" at the top of his voice. That's what I'm caring
Replace
about.
Broxy with Danilo's da. That's all.
Exactly.
That's my wish.
Exactly.
That's my wish. I've got a couple of quotes here from Danny Rule just for his presser today. I've not watched it. Either you's watched it at all? I'm just going to read the quotes for the Twitter
No,
page.
I read the transcript on the Rangers Twitter page. I see there was no comments about 12-year-old journalists anyway. That's a start.
Aye. So obviously he must have been asked about the players' mentality and stuff like that going into these games. And he's responded, and I really like this response actually. If we've more self-confidence, then you will see it on the pitch. We will look more connected. You can see from the last 2 games we have been sharper. It's a good step, but we know it's a small one, and we need to look to the next step. So, and times gone by, Russell Martin would have been floundering at a question like that, talking utter rubbish. But he's obviously confident in his players and confident in the work that he's done to say that he's happy with what he's seen so far. He then went on to say it's always good when you feel that the ideas are translating into results. It's up to my players. They have shown good character, but we must keep improving. And again, that's another thing that I just really think that that's something positive that the players will respond to. One of the things that he said in a previous discussion with the press was that he doesn't consider his substitutes to be secondary players. He likes to call them impact players, and that everybody will play a part. So I think that that's just something that the players look to be buying into, and I've got a good feeling that when it comes round on Sunday, that whoever starts the game and whoever comes off the bench, they'll give equal amounts of effort either way, kind of thing.
I think he's already shown so far that he'll rotate players for games. Like Hibs away is a tough game, right? The Sunday game's a tough game, but he's no done what maybe previous managers would have done and no drop the captain because it's Hibs away and it's a big game. He's went, well, we'll give Aaron's a go, and then we'll just rotate the players and keep the legs
Who never
fresh.
put a foot wrong, by the way. He never
No,
put a foot wrong
aye,
the other night.
and do
And
you know
he
what?
looked good
I
when he
seen
came
him.
on against Kilmarnock as well.
I seen a clip of him. Somebody posted a clip of him at full time, and he was absolutely loving it. So he was. We get the 3 points. So do you know what? Fair play to the boy because he took a lot of stick, and it was deserved. I'm not saying it wasn't deserved. He took a lot of stick, but he's no chucked the ball out and went, I'm away. I'm not having this. This isn't for me. He's had the opportunity to try and play his way back into form. He has, and he's done well. So fair play to him.
Aye.
Especially coming back for the red card and pretty much chucking it against Bruges.
Looking like his time was up, that was even though he's only on loan.
For me is going for Danny Rule's presser. is that it wouldn't surprise me if he said to the squad, look, there will be times where you'll not get on, but I'm going to, I'll be using all you at some point, so be ready to kind of play your part and make everybody feel as if they're involved.
Yeah,
Even
I
if
think
they're not getting on the park.
I think his philosophy is there isn't a starting 11. There's just 11 positions at the start of the game, if you get what I mean. Like, I think that's very much his philosophy in the way that he runs his teams, especially with a team the size that we've got. Because we do have, like that European game last week, we had a full another team sitting on the bench. Like, we've got a lot of players that need time. That being said, Sunday, who do you think gets dropped or starts from Wednesday? Is it the same team? Is it the same system beginning?
I
Would you make
would
any
say
major
same.
changes for the starting 11?
Well, the only change you'd be making would be Diamande for
Barron.
Barron.
Aye.
I'd be going same 11 because none of them really done anything wrong. I take your point about Miovski though, and I forgot obviously he's got previous against Celtic, so for experience it might be worth putting him in there. But I do like the idea of the old style big man, little man up front, because Chermiti's a big boy, like I never understand why we not sending the wingers to the byline and just ping a cross in for him. The guy's about
He's a
eight,
tall, big,
9 feet
strong boy,
tall.
isn't he?
Do
Aye.
you know what I mean? So I never understand why we don't do that. But I'd be happy with the same lineup, but Dio for Barron obviously, and see where we go. I'd like to see us go out and take it to them rather than wait to see what they're going to do first and try and counter that. It'd be nice to see us be the ones on the front foot. I know that might sound a bit silly given that they've no beat us in the last 14 games, something like that. I think they said it was, or 14 months it might have been since they last beat us in a 90-minute game. Out with obviously the League Cup final on penalties. But I go in with, I'll choose my words carefully here. Maybe an optimism that wasn't there a few weeks ago. Put it that way.
Fair.
Because that first Old Firm game at Ibrox was dire, absolutely dire. Both teams were terrible,
Aye.
and I think you're going to see two completely different teams for what played in that game at Ibrox not in terms of personnel, in terms of the style of football that they're going to play.
So, Cheech, what's your thoughts on the lineup starting 11?
I personally, I don't know. I've got this feeling that he's going to start with Tavernier. I just don't know if any manager. Look, if he did, this isn't a slight against Tavernier, by the way, before anybody jumps on this, right? But if he had the bottle to drop Tavernier and start with Aarons again, then I would be like, fair play to you, because I don't think anybody else has ever done that, made that change when it's not been forced against Celtic. And I think that given the fact that Tavernier's had previous issues with dealing with pacey players up against him, then I reckon that Aarons would be the best shout. If he's going to go with the same again, I would probably stick Miovski in to start with. And that's the only two changes, albeit without replacing Barron, because I know he has to be. But I would probably keep Aarons on, and I would probably go with Miovski up front, only because I think that with the type of game it will be, he has already proved he can score goals against Celtic. So it's a big game. He can score goals in big games. Like Aberdeen versus Celtic isn't a Rangers and Celtic game, right? But
It's the
still a
second
big
best.
game for
Aye.
other teams that size. He scored goals against us as well. So I reckon that I would start with him, because realistically their defence isn't at top speed right now, and we need to be as potent up front as possible. So if you get, I know Miovski's no been setting the heather on fire since he's joined, but I reckon
He's got to start somewhere.
given the opportunity, he will score a goal. I'd be
Aye.
more confident with him and Chermiti getting the same opportunity that Miovski puts it away. Put it that way.
Aye. Do you think there's a place for Joe Rothwell in this team?
No.
No, from what we've seen. And
Off the bench, yes, but
quite clearly Will
if,
feels the same as well. But
if it's between Rothwell and Dio to come in and take Barron's place, it's Dio all day long for me. and I know he takes a bit of slating, but I really like him. I think he's a quality player.
I like him as well,
Um,
actually.
so
He's got an
I would,
engine
I
and all,
would
man.
love.
He's like Baron. He's always going. We deal
He
like
has, and he's got previous against Celtic. He's got a couple of goals against them. He scored in the win at Parkhead earlier on in the year. He scored in the cup final last season as well against them. So I would be going for Dio
Do you know who was
over
excellent in
Rothwell.
midfield against Celtic? Glenn Kamara. Every
don't
time.
don't invoke
Don't.
the name
No,
because then that leads me down
Don't.
the Calvin
Like,
Bassey route, and I don't want to
see,
go down. I don't want to greet on
I
the
would honestly
podcast, right? I
love
don't want to greet.
Dio to play the game the same way Glenn Kamara did. Remember that game where he absolutely done Scott Brown in, just a wee drag back, totally just sent him for a hot dog. And I was like, that is how the
He was
midfield should be. They
class,
should be
man.
so
Kamara was
calm.
class.
They should be so calm, and you don't have to do it in flashy. You just have to keep the ball and make sure that you're doing your job, and that's it. And you'll have a good game. Like
I think
if Dio can do that, then brilliant. Because I think there's definitely a player in there. He's been a bit stop start, obviously, with the sending off in European game, and all that stuff, and people getting on his case a wee bit from being a wee bit choppy with his form. But I reckon there's definitely a good player in
he
there.
likes a card these days, doesn't he? As well, that's the thing. He likes a card these days, which if he wants to get a card against Celtic, then fair play to you, wee man. On you go. Like, make sure it's something good. But
Just no a red one.
just not a red one. I seen a lot of chatter online about Raskin, like kind of falling off form a wee bit. He was pretty quiet on Wednesday night. He was obviously involved in some bits, but he doesn't seem to be so much as pulling the strings as what he'd done previously. Is he 100% a starter for you on Sunday as well?
Yeah, I would be starting him on Sunday. I don't as much as he's maybe not as effective as he has been previously. I still think he goes about his business quite quietly. He doesn't really kind of make mistakes, and I think more with especially the other night. I think that was more to do with the fact that he's getting back up now. He's no left. He's probably standing out more because he was the one that was kind of there to dictate
Aye,
everything.
that's fair. Aye.
Whereas now the load's getting passed everywhere. So we're becoming more of a team rather than having individual standouts. So yeah, I start them all day long. I would name Raskin and Dio for me is your two sitters, and then whoever you want to have kind of further up.
Is it
Whether it
is
be
it Mikey Moore?
Asgard or Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore again, similar to Max Aarons, has been brilliant the last game and a half that he's played.
Aye.
Really impressed with him against Kilmarnock and deserved his start the other night and thought he'd done really well.
He
So,
looks like he enjoys playing through the middle a lot more.
I thought that as well, actually. Aye.
it looked more of as much as it was predominantly through the middle, it looked like he kind of had a free roll. He kind of drift as well, which
Yeah.
was kind of good to see. I thought he'd done better than Asgard when Asgard came on the other night. Not to say that Asgard played poorly. I just think Mikey Moore was a lot better. So I would go again. So if you're having three kind of in the middle, it's Raskin, Dio, and Mikey Moore for me. They would be my three.
That's fair.
And I'm gonna lay my colours to the master now. Before we talk anymore, I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Rangers to win in penalties.
That's
Said it.
where I was going next. I have no more questions about actual personnel
I
or
don't-
games or anything like that. So
I don't think Man Nerves can handle another penalty shootout.
I know
for
I
this
don't
game.
want penalties, man.
I-
I was
I'm
thinking
gonna
about this
say-
morning. I was thinking that this will go to penalties, man, and I don't want that.
Well, I think it probably will go to penalties, right? But I'm going to go and say 3-2 Rangers on Sunday.
I'm definitely not going to do my normal 4-0. Miovski hat trick. I'm not doing that for this one because I think
Wait
I'm a
till you see,
jinx, mate.
You'll call a 1-0 Rangers win and we'll end up winning 4-0.
Hey, if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers, and I'm going to predict it as Danilo with both of them in the first half, and then we get a wee scare at the end when they score. That's my prediction.
It's pretty plausible, mate. Pretty plausible. And I'll also go for Danilo's old man singing a sash and the Rangers end at the end of the game
Aye.
whilst
At
waving a
half-time.
Union Bears flag. You know,
What a guy!
with
What a guy!
with a steak pie in his hand, getting
What a
pictures
guy!
with everybody.
The hero.
Aye.
Anything else you guys want to pick up, or are you happy we can call
Nah.
it there?
Nah, all
Nah.
good, all good. And
I'm really surprised they're letting us kick off at 2:00. I'll say that. on
Aye,
Sunday,
that is a weird one, man.
the pubs
That is a
open at
weird one.
11:00 on a Sunday, so you're still allowing
I
people
I
3
always
hours of
think
drinking before the game's on, man.
it was weird to me because I was obviously I'm going away on Sunday evening, but I was just like, if it finishes early enough, I can do the post match with you guys. But then I checked the time and it was like 2:00, and I was like, why are they kicking off at 2:00 on a Sunday? That's like Old Firms never
that's
kick off at that time. That's bizarre,
that's your
man.
kind of standard semi-final and
It's always
final.
a
I'm sure
cup,
the
aye,
final,
cup, aye,
the League Cup final last year was a 2:00 kick-off as well.
aye.
Um,
I hate it.
it's kind of, you can't get away with kicking off a cup. I know it's a semi-final, but you can't get away with kicking off a cup
At
final at
12.
12:00. You know, that would
Aye.
just be lunacy. Although, to be fair, would you put it past the SFA?
Who's
Absolutely
who,
not.
No.
who's in the other semi?
St Mirren and Motherwell.
Hearts? No, Hearts are out, aren't they? It was St
Hearts
Mirren.
are
St Mirren and
out,
Motherwell.
aye.
Sure it is. St Mirren and Motherwell.
And
Can we just say
easy
that
road to a
Celtic,
cup.
a full complement of sympathetic referees and VARs on for Sunday? What's that all about,
Oh,
by the
aye,
way?
on you go, on you
That's
go.
embarrassing. That's
I
shocking.
didn't think that. What's that dude's name that get
Frank
bro-
O'Connor.
Connor.
Frank
Aye, I
O'Connor.
never
By
thought
the
he
way,
would be back
that is
for us ever
honest to
again, man.
God, right? That is a disgrace that he's allowed to do this game after that League Cup final last year. Honestly, it is a disgrace because after that, clearly admitting it was a mistake, you hear in the audio, which was a joke, to be honest, to allow him to be on VAR again for a similar fixture the following season is basically the SFA saying, "Don't give a fuck what you think. To be honest, we'll just do what we want." It's pathetic.
Well, we need to beat 11 men and then five,
Six
uh,
officials,
s-
man.
six of the
Whatever it is.
SFA's hand chosen golden boys. But that being said, I think we'll call it there, boys. We've got our predictions in, hoping for a big Rangers win on Sunday. I won't be on the post match reaction because I will be flying down to London. So I hope you guys have a good post match reaction and it's a positive one. But I will end it there and we will see you guys on Sunday. Bye.
Cheers, folks.
Catch you later.